Hey everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you can't hear my AC. I'm not turning it off. So one of my favorite things to do is program workouts. And there are endless ways to go about formatting your programming. It really comes down to what you enjoy, what your goals are, the equipment you have access to, and the time you have to dedicate to your workouts. But if you are in a place where you're designing your own workouts and you want to make sure that you're covering all of your bases, this is the video for you. So today I'm meeting with a subscriber and we are gonna talk about their goals, and then I'm gonna design for them a week of programming that hits these 10 checkpoints that I'm always looking for. So let's dive on into that call.
All right, so Kari, why don't you tell me a little bit about like your current workout routine?
Yeah, so I am currently a college student. I'm going to be a junior in college. I have access to a gym 5 days a week, so I like to go to the gym as often as I can because I enjoy it, because it's fun, so I tend to go 5 days a week. Currently, I've been following a split of sort of a pull day, then legs, then a push day, and then glutes, with one of those days, like during the gym, being cardio, although I'm also training for a 5K. Very relaxed.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more just about like your overall goals with exercise?
I like my body, but I know that if I work on my health and on my well-being and sort of on improving my strength and cardiovascular endurance, exercising more and moving more, my life in the long run is going to be so much better. So my goal is set myself up now while I'm young and fit and healthy, and I can do whatever I want to make sure that when I get to my parents' age, that I'm in the best shape that I can be. My goal is sort of slow and steady weight loss, because I do acknowledge that, you know, some of the conditions that I'm faced with, losing weight, at least medically, has been encouraged by some of the doctors I see. Definitely a little bit of weight loss, but also just like endurance, especially cardiovascular, and just feeling stronger and better. And I think that, you know, the self-love, I'm already pretty good at self-love, but I think the positive body image too, like aesthetic goals, are definitely part of it too.
Let's talk about program design. So when I'm designing a program, I'm going through 10 different checkpoints over a week of programming. Now, what's going to fit into these checkpoints is going to completely depend on the individual person's goals, enjoyment, equipment, all of the things we already talked about. So the first checkpoint I'm looking for is making sure there's a knee dominant exercise. So this is going to be things that target more so the front of the legs. These are going to be lower body. So things like squats and lunges. Next up is a hip dominant exercise. So this is going to target more of the back of the leg, and it's going to be hinging motions like deadlifts, hip thrusts, and bridges. Next, I'm looking for a horizontal pull. So this is an upper body exercise, and this is going to be horizontal to your body. So think like a bent over row. And then on the other side of that, we also want a horizontal push. So think something like a push-up. Next, we're looking for a vertical pull. So this would be up over the head, think something like a chin up. And then on the flip side, we want a vertical push. So again, like an overhead press. Next thing I'm looking for is power. So these are gonna be explosive movements, very low rep. And I typically like to do these at the beginning of the workout. But again, that's gonna vary based off of the individual person's goals. Next thing I look for is core. Just core exercises, whether it's in the programming, whether it's in the warm-up, whether it's in the finisher. And we have so many options here. I've talked all about different ways that we can train the core in all of these videos. So if you want to know more about that, you can click on those videos. But again, this is going to really depend on the individual person's goals. Next, I'm looking for unilateral exercises. I tend to do this pretty naturally. It's just one of my preferred ways of training. And this is going to be by using one arm or one leg at a time. And then finally, I want to make sure that there are different planes of motion within our training. So the 3 planes of motion are sagittal, which is up, down, front to back. We have the frontal plane, which is side to side. And then we have the transverse plane, which is twisting. Again, I've covered this in other videos, but we want to make sure that we're training in all 3 planes of motion because we move that way in daily life. So by training that way, it's just going to help us get stronger in those other planes and help prevent injury. Okay, so now that we've gone through and talked about the 10 checkpoints I'm looking for, I'm gonna design a week of programming and then we'll come back and talk about it. And we have a program. So like I said on the call with Carrie, I'm gonna give her just 3 days of programming.
Yes, I do proceed to say Kari's name wrong the entire video. I'm sorry.
Now, based off of her interests, she does like to do more of a traditional split. So we're gonna give her a full upper and lower split. Now, before we jump in, remember there are so many options, like endless options. So this is just one way that I could have broken up her program and decided on where exercises were going. A lot of what I took into account were exercises that she enjoyed and then what the rest of her days look like. So 2 things to really note is that she's a student, so she's probably sitting a lot. And then she's also training for a 5K. So I want to make sure that we're doing things that are going to help protect her knees, her hips, and her ankles. So we're not really going to cover like the mobility and activation portion in this video simply for the sake of time. I'm going to be giving it to Carrie, but I do have another video coming out all about warm-up, so definitely make sure that you're subscribed so that you learn how to format a warm-up as well. Looking at the bulk of our programming, I personally like to work in supersets. I find it's a little bit more enjoyable, and we can do it really strategically where you are working opposing muscle groups so that you're not like over fatiguing the same things if that's not the goal of your workout in that moment. So that's what I did for this full body workout. And honestly, I really chose that because Carrie's busy. She's a student. It is a long walk to get to the gym. So I want to make sure that she's like really just using her time as efficiently as possible. So we're going to start with a dumbbell RDL and superset that with a chest press. So we've got our hip dominant motion and then we've got our horizontal press. And I put a chest press in there over push-ups because Carrie told me that she really enjoys doing a chest press, but she doesn't really enjoy push-ups. Personally, I prefer push-ups, but I'm not going to make a client do that just because I prefer them. And then our next superset, we have an alternating lateral lunge. So we're moving in that frontal plane side to side. We've also got a little bit of knee and hip dominant there. I would say it's like, depending on how much knee or hip you use, you can kind of say it's one or the other. And then a single arm bent over row. Now, Carrie did say that she loves that exercise, also one of my favorites, and we're gonna get in that horizontal pull. So we're checking off our upper body horizontal movements right on this full body day. We've got our hip dominant, lateral lunge, whatever you want to call that, but we've got our frontal plane of motion. Now, since one of Carrie's goals is endurance, I put a little cardio endurance / strength finisher at the end. So she would perform this kind of as one big circuit going through 3 times, 10 kettlebell swings or dumbbell swings, whatever works the best, a 2-arm clean, and then into weight pull through. So the nice thing about that is that you just really need one weight and you can go boom, boom, boom right through, take rest as you need. But the goal here is to really just like get all of the gas out of the tank, work on that endurance, and call it a day. So that is our first day. And you can see we checked a lot of things off the list right in the beginning. That weight pull through, that's a core exercise. Anti-rotation. Okay, let's move on to our upper body day. So first exercise I actually want her to do by itself because it's gonna take a ton of energy and I really want her to work till failure. I would recommend taking at least a minute between your rest time there. And then we're just gonna work through some supersets. Now, whenever I do like a true upper body day for clients, I try to sneak some core work in there as well, because again, I'm just trying to make this as efficient as possible on a 3-day split. So first exercise, we've got a half kneeling single arm overhead press with a little twist or rotation. So we're getting in that transverse plane, we're getting in our vertical push, and we've got some unilateral training in here. And we're gonna superset that with a side plank. So you can see the focus of this first superset is gonna be more like tricep and shoulder. Next, we're going into a half kneeling single arm curl. And then we're gonna superset that with some up downs. Now, this I would definitely say is a bicep focused superset. Even though up downs, you're really not like doing the action of a bicep. It was a very weird bicep curl. You are going to really have to use your biceps to stabilize as you're coming down. So I don't know, that's my rationale there. And then we're gonna end with a bird dog row, supersetted with a shoulder tap rotation. Not only are we gonna be working the back here, but we're also really working on our shoulder stability and our core stability. And I'm not gonna add a finisher here. I think that that's enough work for one day. I guess just remember that like not every single workout has to be like 100%, get everything out of the tank. Like we don't need highest intensity every single time. Anyway, lower body day. So we're gonna do the same format as our full body day. We have some supersets here. First exercise is a goblet split squat. So goblet simply just means that you're holding the weight in at the chest so you can load this pretty heavy. And Carolina did mention that she does not enjoy Bulgarian split squats. So I'm not gonna program a Bulgarian for her, but I am gonna see how she tolerates just a normal split squat. The reason why is because she is training for a 5K. This is one of the best exercises that I always recommend for runners because it's gonna help a lot with your overall overall hip and knee and ankle stability. We are going to superset that with a lateral bound. This, I would say, is more of a power exercise. I guess we also saw kettlebell swings, which is a power exercise too, but specifically we're keeping the reps really low here. And this is to work on her deceleration, especially at the ankle and knee. Again, very important for runners. She's gonna do this weightless, one side at a time, really making sure that she can find that single side stance without tapping back or falling over. Next superset, we're gonna start with a single leg deadlift, one of my favorite exercises. And then we're gonna superset that with a single leg elevated bridge. So really just working on that posterior chain here, which is gonna help, again, support her running. This whole lower body day is like, let's support the running. And then finally, we've got our finisher. Again, just adding in a little bit of power and endurance here, since that is one of her main goals. Ball slams, jump squats, just do those 3 times through, 10 reps each, call it a day. So I hope that you guys found that helpful. I will say, if you are also a coach and you are looking to learn more about programming, the absolute best certification that I got for that was the Certified Functional Strength Coach certification through Mike Boyle. A lot of this information I did kind of pick up from that cert. I think I have a video where I talked about studying for it and just kind of my experience. So if you want to know more about that, I would highly recommend. Not sponsored at all, but I will link it down below if you are interested. Any questions, as always, leave them down in the comment box below. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I will see you all in the next one.